When I teach Hyprland, I don't just show what to install. I teach why each choice that you make matters. Because copying dot files won't teach you how to build a setup that actually serves your workflow. So after months of daily use, my setup has been refined to pure function. Not a single element is here by accident. Today, I will be breaking down the why behind every decision so that you can apply the same thinking to build something that actually works for you. Right? Now, to get started, the first thing that I'm going to be doing is showing you all the applications and keybinds that I have configured. That way, I can also tell you why I have chosen these specific keybinds and why I bother to include them in my setup so that you can get an idea of what its purpose actually is in my setup, and maybe if you can adapt it to yours as well. Now, the first thing is a keybind bound to hyperctl kill. So if I press my mod key and K, what happens is you see this little plus crosshair cursor like thing pop up on screen. And basically, I can use this crosshair cursor to left click on any window and kill that particular window. Now, this one is especially helpful when what happens is an app just ends up freezing, and then you don't exactly know how you're going to get rid of that particular app. You don't know its PID, right? It's PID, it's process ID, in order for you to kill the app. Okay, and you don't want to use kill all in order to kill the app because that would result in every instance of the app crashing. Let's take your browser, for example, okay? You've opened your browser, great, everything's working, but what happens is this particular browser window freezes up. Now, you don't know this browser window's PID, and getting to know its PID is too much work, but you can't exactly use kill all either because you have other browser windows open. So the best thing that you can do is just use hyperctl kill, and you can just bind that to a keybind. And once you do that, you'll be able to kill any particular window that you so choose. So if I left click here, as you can see, the window is successfully terminated. And that is why I keep hyperctl kill bound to mod key and K. So that was the first one. Next thing we have is regional screenshots. Now, if you've ever taken a screenshot, chances are you're just going to have to press a keybind and then the entirety of your screen is captured. But then let's say you're asking for help on Reddit, okay? Let's say I go to this beautiful platform called Reddit. Let's go over here. Let's go to some what do you call it, subreddit like Arch Linux. So let's go here. And let's say I wanted to ask for help with something. Now I would probably log in, create a post, and then I would paste in a screenshot of whatever thing that wasn't working. Let's say I tried to update my computer, but then what happened was suddenly, let's say I get an error like this. Failed to synchronize all databases, unexpected error refreshing databases, exit status 1. Okay, let's say I wanted to troubleshoot this, and instead of just asking AI, I wanted to ask a human who's already most likely experienced it before me. So instead of taking a screenshot of the entire setup, okay, and then including all sorts of details that would just practically be irrelevant inside of the post that I would be making asking for help, I can just take a regional screenshot, but all I have to do is just capture this error along with any other surrounding context that's required, and I can take that and then put it inside of my post that's asking for help. Not only is it much easier on the people that are actually going to be reading my post and then perhaps answering it, it's also just better etiquette because apart from the issue, right, most people, they don't want to see the rest of your setup anyway. So that's one main thing. And apart from that, you can also configure this little animation here where basically this absolutely gorgeous white sheet of paper, that's right, white sheets of paper, they look good. You can have this sheet just draw over your screen whenever you're going to take a regional screenshot, and then you can just have it like this. And then if you let go of your left click, okay, if you let go of your left mouse button, it's going to just go back. Otherwise, you can just press escape and it's going to go back with that same animation anyway. So that was the second one. Then the third one is my choice of file manager. Now, if I open my file manager, this is what you see here. Now, if I also open my file manager, this is another one. Now, what is going on? Why do I have two file managers bound to different keybinds? What's the reason for me doing something like this? Well, here's the kicker, okay? The left file manager here is one called Thunar. So Thunar is the file manager of the XFCE desktop environment, which used to be really popular back in the day for racing because it just ended up being super clean, super light, super minimal. You didn't have any of the BS that GNOME or KDE has these days, okay? It was very light and you basically got everything that you needed. There was nothing there that you didn't need. And even if you did not need certain aspects of the desktop environment, you could just delete them. Okay, you could just yay-rns, or if you're using pacman-rns, right? Get rid of a package along with all of its dependencies. You could do that for any particular package and then you would be fine. But that is, okay, so that is basically about Thunar, right? This is Thunar, the XFCE file manager. Now, the one on the right that I have over here is Nautilus, and this is GNOME's file manager. So if you've used the GNOME desktop environment before, then you will know that this is the file manager that GNOME uses. Now, just with one glance alone, you can tell that one file manager clearly looks better and just prettier than the other one. And obviously, that's going to be the one on the right, right? This one is written using GTK4. Okay, Nautilus is written using GTK4, and Thunar is written using GTK3. Now, how does that actually matter, and why is it of any concern? Well, the thing is, when it comes to theming, GTK4 is very, very locked down. It's not as open and not as readily themable as GTK3. Now, watch what happens if I switch the theme from something like Rose Pine, which is selected by default, okay? Let's say I switch the theme to something like Noir, okay? So I've created a list of custom themes that I can switch between in this custom theme switcher, along with a wallpaper switcher where I can basically choose any wallpaper I want out of a list of quite a lot of wallpapers, along with a list of quite a lot of themes. Okay, so I can do this. Now, watch what happens. The app over here, Thunar, that updates immediately. Okay, now I can show you this even if I switch to something like Capuchin. As you can see, the theme updates immediately. This also works for e-ink. Okay, now here e-ink is actually a light theme. Now I'm supposed to set color scheme to default. That way you can actually see the light theme in all of its glory. Now if we close and reopen, this is what you see. Great, now I can do this for Everforest and Grovebox and basically every single other theme. Now, the thing is, it's not going to apply here as well because GTK4 it does not support live theme reloading. So if I wanted to get Nautilus to display the new theme, I would have to close it and then reopen it. And what do you know? It still doesn't display properly. What a surprise. Now, the way that you fix that is by typing kill all-9 Nautilus, because some GNOME apps have the tendency to run in the background for whatever reason. And so because of which, you just wouldn't be able to get the theme to reload even if you close and reopen the app. So running that, it says no process found, no problem. Now, if we try and reopen it, there you go. Sometimes you just have to give it a second for all the symlinks to settle in properly. Now, once that's done, you'll be able to get your theme looking like this. Main reason why I chose Thunar over Nautilus is even though it doesn't look as good as Nautilus, it supports live theme reloading, which is very, very convenient when you're just switching themes on the fly and you just want it to work. And you don't have to deal with any of the hassle that comes with closing and reopening apps every single time. Oh, and by the way, if you want to learn how to make something like this yourself, if you want to learn how to make a custom theme switcher like this one, where all you have to do is just follow a proven step-by-step process, right? It's a 3-step process where you just follow the instructions that I give you, and I teach you how to make something like this, and not just give you the dot files and then say, go ahead, figure it out on your own, right? If you want that, you can just go ahead, click the first link in the description, and I show you exactly how. In fact, let me just show you over here. Okay, now let's just go back to NWG look. We'll turn this to prefer dark. Great. Now, inside of system reforging, which is a part of the program, first link in the description, here, if I scroll down, we have theme switchers, right? So this entire module, which is 2 hours long, in this module, I cover what theme switchers actually are, the different kinds, how to set up wallpaper-based theme switching. So this is basically where you use tools like Pywall and Matigen to extract the colors from your wallpaper and then use those colors to paint the rest of your system, whether it be your status bar over here, that's waybar, or whether it be your notification daemon, this is sway and see, or your logout menu, or your lock screen, right? You can use those colors in order to paint the entirety of your environment, or you can just use a custom theme switcher like the one that I have over here. Whichever one that you want, I teach you how to do both. Right, so as you can see, this is just me using slides to explain how all of this works. And the rest of it is me showing you the code of how this is actually supposed to work. That, along with a bunch of other stuff, is in here. And also, as a bonus, I also give you my current dot files with this specific theme switcher. So if, in case you wanted this theme switcher as a bonus for just helping you in your journey of learning to write Hyprland and not just copying and pasting, I also give you that as a bonus over here called Meridian. It's a comprehensive Hyprland environment with system-wide dynamic theming. So if you want this, if you want to learn how to make a setup like this on your own, no monkey see, monkey do, copy pasting somebody else's dot files, you can go ahead, click the first link in the description, and I would love to show you how. Now, that is it for tuner and why I have this selected as my file manager instead, because it supports live theme reloading. Next, we have the app launcher. So the app launcher I'm using right now is Rofi, and there are a couple of different app launchers out there, whether it be something like Walker or Wofi, right? Rofi just ends up being the best one for me because one, it can be themed very well. That's one thing, okay? And two, it just works. Unlike Wofi, which depends on your GTK theme and which you have to perform extra shenanigans in order to get it working properly, right? Rofi does not do any of that stuff. It's independent of your GTK theme, so it doesn't matter whether you pick a light one or a dark one, it always works. It just depends on the config file that you set for Rofi, so that's a beautiful thing. I still haven't tested out Walker yet, but I'm pretty confident even after I do test Walker, I'm going to be using Rofi still because it's just tried and tested. It just works and there's no reason to replace it. So that is why I use Rofi as my app launcher. Okay, then another really good part about Rofi is you can use it in order to create custom applets like calculators. So Rofi Calc, if I show you here, Rofi Calc. Rofi Calc is actually an app that allows you to do calculations in Rofi. So this is a mode that you can set in Rofi where basically you can use this mode to calculate whatever you want to. Let's say 23 plus 29 minus 2 times 18. If I wanted to do that, it shows probably here. This is the result that you get. So calculator is another part of my system that I've implemented using Rofi because it just works. And guess what? The theme of the calculator also fits with the theme of my custom theme switcher, which also fits with the theme of my waybar theme switcher as well. Right now, I've turned it off because this is the only waybar config I'm using, but otherwise, that is also a thing. I can change the layout of my waybar as well. That is why I use Rofi for both my calculator as well as my app launcher and my custom theme switcher over here, along with the wallpaper switcher as well. Then we have title bars. Now, in order to enable the title bars, I'm going to have to use hyprpm enable hyperbars. Okay, once I type that in, there you go. The title bars are enabled, and there's a reason why I keep the title bars around, even though Hyprland is supposed to be a tiling window manager where you just don't touch title bars at all. And the reason for that is, let's say you're developing a GTK app, okay? Now, in that said GTK app, you're going to get an option to configure the Windows title. Now, unless you have title bars, you're not going to be able to see what that Windows title looks like. And when you're developing apps that are most likely going to be used on environments like GNOME, KDE, or XFCE, where title bars are going to be visible, right? You're going to find title bars very useful in that case, which is why I keep the title bars in my Hyprland environment as well. I can turn them on or off with a keybind that's using hyperctl actually. Let me just show you. So it's in binds.conf. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering what this modules folder is all about, I cover it in detail inside of the program, but basically it's taking one file and then splitting it into multiple files so that you can make maintenance much easier. So that would be over here. In anti-fragile modularity, I cover why make things modular, the apps that we can, and how to actually go about doing that. This one is a 40-minute module on how you can go about doing this stuff. Okay, we'll just pause this. Okay, great. Now, getting back to this, if we look at, so this is where I've configured the title bars. I've stored the plugin inside of this variable, and then what I'm doing in order to enable or disable the title bars is just loading and unloading the plugin using this variable here. That's it. Pretty simple stuff. That is why I would keep title bars around to get GTK apps to play nicely with the title. Then we have an overview. Now, the overview bind I've actually disabled by default. Sometimes I don't use the overview bind most often, but if I do, all I have to do is press mod Q, and then as you can see, this is the overview that you see in GNOME or KDE. This is the exact same overview. So here we have a couple of empty spaces. Within the empty spaces, there you go. Now they are accurately reflected. This is Workspace 2, this is Workspace 3, so on and so forth, right? If I wanted this overview, I could just use it this way. The best use case for this overview is to, you guessed it, just get an overview of all the open windows on your system. Here it actually says 2 and 3 and 4, right? Perhaps it still needs a little bit more development for it to be as fleshed out as Neri's overview, or maybe even something like GNOME's or KDE's, but it's getting there, and on the way there, it actually seems pretty sweet because it works fantastically. Then we also have a layout switcher. Now, I haven't program this into rofi just yet, but if I press super key and J, actually mod key and J, that allows me to switch to the scrolling layout whenever I choose. Now in the scrolling layout, if I wanted to reorder a bunch of windows, that would work something like this. Okay, that actually looks pretty sweet, really cool animation. And if I wanted to switch back to the master and slave layout, I just type super key and shift and J, and that switches back to the master and stack or master slave layout as usual. The reason why you would want to have a keybind for switching between different layouts, at least for me personally, is because sometimes you want to be able to open multiple windows in the same workspace without having to switch to a different workspace, and you want basically infinite windows to be open in that particular workspace, which is what the scrolling layout allows you to do. You can basically get infinite windows to be opened in one particular workspace. And best part, you don't have to worry about switching workspaces at all, because it's like having multiple workspaces just combine into one. It's truly a fantastic feat. Whoever thought of this has to be a genius, honestly. Now, if we look at the overview, this is what you see. It just takes a screenshot and then puts it over here. Unless the workspace is currently selected, that's actually what happens. A screenshot is taken, and that screenshot is what you see here. Then we have the browser itself. Now, the browser that I use is actually the trusty old Brave browser with all of the clutter just gutted out. So by default, you have a hell of a lot of clutter. So you have this bookmarks bar over here, and then you have this Brave rewards icon, and then you have tab search, and then you have a bunch of other useless buttons that you're probably never going to use. You have Brave wallet, and then Brave rewards, and Brave VPN. Like there's so much Brave crap that you don't use. Like you just want the browser because it's fast and it has an ad blocker and all the other manifest v2 extensions that it allows you to use. You don't want it for all the VPN stuff, at least most of us. So what I've done is just basically debloated the browser and then gotten it to look like this. This is my daily browser that doesn't have any bloat whatsoever. All it has is a search engine where I can search stuff. If I wanted to, I could just directly go to URLs like Claude or ChatGPT and then look for whatever I wanted to over there. Pretty simple stuff. That's it. You don't really need that much complicated thing for a web browser. You just don't. So you can pick something simple like Brave, okay, get it to match with your GTK theme so that even if you switch it, it still adapts, being a GTK 3 app and whatnot, okay? You can do that, and then your life will be just fine. Amazing even. Okay, now, getting to the part that I showed you earlier, this custom theme switcher. You might be wondering, why did I actually go about creating this? Well, I've been writing Hyprland for over 4 years, and I noticed a problem, or just something that I kept coming across. Something just kept rearing its ugly head every single time I tried to use the same setup for quite a while. And that was just boredom. Boredom was one thing, and the other thing was just looking for novelty. Now, what happens when you just lock down into one particular color scheme and one particular theme for all of your apps, whether it be something like VS Codium or Discord, okay, or Spotify, which I don't actually have open right now, but regardless, right, whether it be Discord or VS Codium, or basically any other app, it could even be your terminal. So if I can put the terminal here, okay, what happens is if you just get locked into one particular theme and then you don't really switch themes that often, but then when you do, it's a complete hassle in order to do so. I felt this quite a lot. And so what I did in order to solve that particular problem was just create a custom theme switcher. That way, whenever I wanted to switch between different themes, because I got tired of looking at the same little, what do you call it, colors inside of my code editor, okay? Or whether I just got bored of it, I could do it with just one click instead of going into every single app and then clicking on the settings, apply color theme here for VS Codium, and then going into this Discord over here in order to change the color themes there, and then for the terminal. That was an absolute headache. And believe me, in my first couple of years of writing, that is exactly what I did. Whenever I wanted to switch themes, I would just go ahead, find a new theme, find a new GTK theme every single time, use that in order to theme the rest of the components of the system, and it was a hellish nightmare. I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy, right? Which is why I created this in the first place. That was my reason for creating the custom theme switcher. One, it looks cool, and two, in order to run away from the hell, right, that is not being able to change your themes. Then we have my notification panel. Now, the panel I use over here is Sway and See. There's a couple of reasons for that. One, you can make notifications look absolutely beautiful with this, right? With volume and brightness, you can make it look really good. And not just that, but you can also get this panel, something that you can't do with Dunce. So Dunce is another notification daemon. but it doesn't quite allow you to get this exact same functionality over there, right? So you can only get this toast pop up over here, whether it be in many different positions, right? But you can't do that along with getting a panel like this, which is why I picked Sway and C for my choice of notification daemon. Then we also have a color picker, which I've bound to mod key and H. Okay, now this color picker is very useful when I'm designing color schemes, new color schemes that I can use over here. All I have to do is just pick colors from a particular wallpaper, and then I can use them whether I am creating a new GTK theme or creating a new Discord theme or something like that. That is actually going to be ending up very, very useful, and that's why I have it bound there. Next thing is the volume and brightness, which I have already shown you, right? These two are OSDs, what we call on-screen displays, that basically tell you what's going on with your system every single time you interact with it. It works for volume and brightness as well. You can also configure it to work for your media keys. So if I had media keys, which I do, but I just haven't configured them to work and display a notification whenever I change media, I can do that. But otherwise, you can make these notifications do whatever you want. In fact, if I were to show you the logic behind how they work, script, okay. Scripts, brightness.sh. That's just, hold on, brightness. Okay, now here, if I were to show you the actual notification that's being sent, we use notify send with a bunch of flags here, mainly the OSD flag, which means that this is just going to replace. So if there's a new notification, that's going to replace the old one, and then you're now going to see a bunch of different notifications here, like with the night theme, right? That, along with a bunch of other flags in order to make the notification what it is. Then, coming on to the next one, we have night mode. Now, night mode, this one too was pretty simple to configure. Once I did, this ended up being a huge boost to enabling me to basically use my computer at night without completely dulling the melatonin response that's supposed to be happening late at night, or at least in the evening. Saves your eyes and then just makes working with your computer in the evening so much better, both for your health, for your eyes, and for your sleep. That's why I have this configured to be at the press of a keybind. The logic behind this too is very, very simple. So if we go to, again, scripts, okay, this one's actually in local bin, night mode. Okay, here we're actually using WL sunset for this and not hyper sunset, because hyper sunset just refuses to work when you go into full screen for some apps. Basically for all apps, so I switched away from that to WL sunset. So if it's running, we kill it and then we send a notification. If it's not running, okay, then we just start it and then we give a notification. Pretty simple logic. Then we have a game mode, or what I call a blitz mode as well. So if I press super key and F1, that just turns off all animations and then makes it go into an extremely fast state. Now, in case I was rendering something or in case I was playing a game, right? I wanted to eke out every single little bit of FPS I could, then I could use this blitz mode or game mode that I've configured with a Win key and F1. This turns off blur, animations, and all that fun stuff, turns off gaps as well. So if I had this bar substituted for a different one, that would be, the windows would be flush against the bar. Then we just have a couple left. That would be the media controls, which even if you don't see them, they're pretty simple, right? F10 to pause, play pause, F11 to go forward, F9 to go back. These ones, they make dealing with media much easier, so you don't have to navigate to the app that's playing music, whether it be your Spotify app or whether it be your YouTube app. You don't have to go there and then click on the button every single time. You can use this media key to do it instead. So that's why I have it. And then there's also the lock screen. The reason why I picked this particular lock screen, Hyperlock, is because one, it's part of the ecosystem, and two, it just looks damn good. You can make it look as good as you want to. You can make it have the Material You aesthetic. You can make it look like Apple's lock screen, which I've done here. I've taken inspiration from Apple's lock screen and just put that here. Or you could just go with Android's lock screen. You can do so many things with it, which is why it is my lock screen of choice. Compared to all the other lock screens out there, Hyperlock just happens to be the best one for me. And lastly, we have zoom. Zoom, you pretty much know what zoom is for, right? It's to just zoom in on things when they're too small, so that one, you can see them, and two, so that you can do whatever you need to after seeing them. Lastly, we have the logout menu, which you saw already, the main purpose of which is to let you log out, reboot, shut down, sleep, or lock. That's it. Now, if we actually press this, yeah, the command needs to be hooked up to hyperlock specifically, because this is tied to a different command, but otherwise the lock functionality is supposed to work and give us this exact thing, which it does. And that should be it. That is my setup as of November 2025. If you want to learn how to make a custom theme switcher like this one without having to watch 283 different YouTube tutorials and going through the absolute hell that I did just learning this stuff, right? Not even just implementing it, just learning about how to get something like this working, right? Just looking from this place to the other place, just burning through Reddit threads and then burning my eyes at night, burning the midnight oil, just trying to figure out how to make this work instead of actually making it work. So if you want to skip through all of that, if you just want the good stuff, you can go ahead, click the first link in the description, and I teach you exactly how to do this for yourself. If you liked the video, hit like. If you loved it and want to see more like this in your feed, hit subscribe, and I will see you next time. Stay rising. Mwah.